We are live. Welcome everybody to this week's episode of Too Sweet Converse. What are we? Episode 16?
15.
15. Holy shnikes! We're episode 15.
Damn.
All right. I am Nico. What up?
What up, everyone? Steve-O here.
What up, everybody? Wild card.
So, guys, EJV, Pro Wrestling Tees, VIP.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, what a mark.
So, thank you, everyone, for checking out the shortened edition of Too Sweet Converse last week, as well as our Too Sweet and Short episodes. We are going to be getting into some nice topics this week. Starting off, the close of SmackDown last week. We saw Nikki Cross take on Bayley for the SmackDown Women's Championship, and the show ended a little differently than expected. We saw the Fiend come out when Alexa Bliss was left in the ring all alone by herself, and he gave her a mandible claw. What is it going to lead to? We remember seeing Alexa Bliss was in a scene at the horror show Extreme Rules between Braun Strowman and the Fiend. Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt. So now we're going to see where it goes. What did you guys think of the close of the show? And where do you see this going exactly? Who'd like to take this topic to start? Nico?
I will go first.
Go for it, bro.
Because Friday night, as soon as the match finished between Nikki Cross and Bayley, I immediately changed the channel and started watching something else. I was like, all right, because I immediately thought, all right, Bayley retains SmackDown title, and I love me some Bayley. Even heel Bayley has converted me and changed my perception of her as a heel. Because I remember back in October, I literally thought WWE turning Bayley heel was a mistake. I did. But I'm eating crow on that. I'm proud to be eating crow on that. Anyways, long story short, I changed the channel. All of a sudden, I get on social media a few minutes after SmackDown's over, and I see everybody going absolutely crazy. Luckily, I had DVR'd SmackDown this week. So what I did, I went back, watched the ending of SmackDown, and seeing what happened between Alexa Bliss and The Fiend was my favorite thing the WWE has done in 2020. Let me tell you why this is perfect for so many levels. Number one, it continues a storyline and it adds another layer to it. People are probably thinking, oh my goodness, I don't want to see Bray Wyatt as The Fiend versus Braun Strowman at SummerSlam. That means Bray's finally going to probably beat Braun and get the title, etc., etc. But guess what you get? You get that wrinkle with Alexa Bliss. And then you got to deal with the whole thing of what we saw at, Extreme Rules, the horror show, where she was, portraying Sister Abigail. For the record, Sister Abigail is not a person yet, I think, like I said about last week, or maybe a few weeks ago, that Sister Abigail is a spiritual figure or being, and Alexa Bliss was just taking the form of that because of her history with Braun. But here's what I thought was so cool about the ending of SmackDown. The way both Alexa Bliss and The Fiend sold it. As soon as the red lighting comes up, the fear of terror, almost like old school horror movie, and I'm not talking 80s horror. I'm talking black and white, Frankenstein, Wolfman, Psycho, all those old school horror movies where you're like, what am I watching? The person's about to get got and get, killed here, but there's nothing you can do, and you're in utter shock and horror, and you can't even move. I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. It was beautiful. The one thing I wish WWE would have did different, and I kind of talked about this on social media, was as wrong as it might have been of, oh my God, The Fiend is attacking a woman with a mandible claw. I wish they would have put a microphone on Alexa so you could hear the screams of like horror and the cries for help. The reason why is because if you watch it back live, granted they changed it with the editing that they posted on their social media accounts like the WWE on Fox Twitter account and all that. By the way, whoever runs that social media account, that person is my spirit animal. But like you don't get to hear the screams of horror on live TV because you immediately hear the crowd going boo. I felt that kind of took away from it. But other than that, I thought everything was beautiful. And if you watch it back, maybe, just maybe Alexa wanted the Fiend to help her. Because she's kind of going down a bit of a path that we've got a little bit uncertainty with the goddess. And maybe, just maybe, this helps her find her way back to what we know and love.
Very nice, Nico. Who would like to take this one next? EJ.
Do you mind? All
No,
right.
not at all.
All right. Yeah, I've unfortunately due to my work schedule, I wasn't able to catch SmackDown live as it went down. But as I got it from work, my Twitter feed kept blowing up about the Fiend, and I'm like, okay, is this another thing showing from the Firefly Funhouse? And I look, and I see the video of Bliss getting the mandible claw put it there by the Fiend, and I saw that, and I'm like, holy shit, what a moment! I agree with Nico. It is WWE's best moment of 2020. Besides maybe in my opinion the Boneyard match, of course, one of my favorite matches, but to me the moment of 2020 is the Fiend attacking Alexa Bliss because of the fear in her eyes, and it was literally genuine. It was genuine fear. You could see it. It was almost like it was a realistic thing going on in front of us, and that's the thing, was believability, and that is the key to any storyline, any moment, is believability. You believe that Alexa Bliss was afraid for her life. You believe that the Fiend was just stalking her and preparing for her ultimate demise. But, I'm excited to see where this story continues, because we know the history of Bliss and Braun dating back to Mixed Match Challenge, where it seemed like there was a little bit of electricity between the two. So, it seemed like Braun had feelings for Alexa and so forth. And I think that's going to translate over into what's going to happen from what happened this past Friday. As you know, we haven't seen Braun since the Wyatt Swamp match at Extreme Rules of Horror show. And the Fiend wants that Universal Championship. So I think this program that they did with Alexa, this little section of the storyline here, I think did wonders for the story of this Universal Championship storyline between Bray and Braun. I think it brings it forward a little bit more, and I think it's going to just elevate it and continue elevating it until we get to the crescendo, which is the Fiend versus Braun for the Universal Championship, whether that be at SummerSlam or whether that be at a future pay-per-view to be determined. But I am invested in this, and I can't wait to see what happens going forward.
Very nice. Thank you, AJV. Wildcard, your thoughts on this storyline?
I was wowed by it, just like the rest of you guys were. When I thought about it and I had a chance to watch it up close and see what that was all about, because unfortunately I didn't get a chance to see it live, but I just saw it just booming on my social media. But when I actually saw what had happened, I was just amazed by something that WWE actually did right. In terms of of ending a show, because I mean recently, and this is dating back just for a long while, I feel like, but we haven't had an ending like that in quite some time, especially like you guys said, the way that they pulled it off and made it so believable. I mean, just if you watch what had happened, you could see the fear in Alexa's eyes with the Fiend just walking around, just stalking her. And you can just see that terrified look in her face. And that wasn't like fake acting there, too. I mean, she actually looked really scared just from that. And honestly, it made me believe that, holy shit, something's going to happen here. I didn't think that they would actually do something like this where the Fiend would actually attack a female wrestler, which, I never would have imagined they would do. But I guess they decided to do something to elevate this whole Strowman Wyatt feud, and that is a perfect way of doing it because, when we saw, Alexa pose as Sister Abigail in that swamp match there too, but I thought that was honestly like a one-time thing. So this may actually turn into something even bigger, which I'm actually quite interested in. Now, the thing is, that was the one night. I want to see what they do with this afterwards. Like, what's the follow-up's going to be? Because, again, I as much as I want to give credit where it's due for what they did in the ring, I got to see this pull through. I got to see what they're going to do next with this going forward, because they could potentially really botch this. I don't know how, but they've had a history of doing that. I don't want to be pessimistic about it, but, I just don't want to get my hopes up for something that could potentially disappoint me.
Very nice. And before we get to the next topic, I'll quickly share my thoughts as well. So I actually did get to watch it. I wasn't doing anything Friday, so I had work the next morning. I just finished walking my dog. I didn't watch the whole match between Nikki Cross and Bayley. I did see the ending. I saw that Bayley won. I was like, yeah, that was to be expected. But it was interesting. I thought that Nikki Cross was going to be turning heel there. I mean, she shoved down Alexa Bliss post-match. And then I saw, like, the lights go out. And I was like, wait, is this the SmackDown hacker returning or something? But apparently it was not. It was something pretty crazy. Like Wildcard said, I thought that the whole Alexa and my Alexa device is going crazy because I keep saying it and you guys keep saying it. But anywho, yeah. So yeah, it was interesting. I was like, oh my god, the lights went out and I saw the Fiend. I'm like, oh shit. But yeah, Extreme Rules. I thought that her dressed as Sister Abigail was gonna be like a one-time only thing, and I was like, and I was kind of just surprised in general. They're tying back to the mixed match challenge because that was kind of a, how do I put that? Almost like a side story or just like a different universe from the main roster WWE. I didn't expect them to ever have like a major story going in between Braun and Alexa. But anyways, I thought it was a cool ending. At first, I was like, I wouldn't want to see this thing continue beyond that horror show match they had. But now that I saw that, seeing the Fiend attack Alexa Bliss, I'm like, oh my god, that's crazy. I'm excited to see where this whole thing goes. Is she gonna turn evil? I mean, we've seen like there's that girl doll with the Fiend face on it. Is she gonna wear face paint, or just the Fiend kind of kidnap her, and Braun Strowman kind of has to go fight and win her back at SummerSlam? It's gonna be very interesting to see. My main prediction right now is that she is gonna turn heel in some way, and we'll see how it goes. Maybe it's going to be interesting also to see if it ties to Nikki Cross in any way as well. But I'm just going to leave it at this. Thumbs up to WWE for a good story to start. I pray they don't botch it as well. I guess we'll see where it goes. Before we move to the next topic, do you guys have anything else to say?
Yes.
Sure.
Real quick. And so far, WWE is doing this right. They need to keep Alexa Bliss off of TV. As much as I love Alexa, I had a photo that I was going to use as my background with her besides the Too Sweet cosplay just because we were going to talk about her for this segment, but it didn't want to work properly. Anyways, they need to keep her off of TV, and I mean like off of social media. So far, I don't think she's tweeted anything even out of character since the attack, which I think is great. But seriously, keep her off of TV. Maybe do something like a vignette or like a via satellite type of thing where they kind of do something kind of like how you mentioned, where Braun maybe has to like go look for her. But again, and I didn't catch this the first time someone told me this, and I had to watch it back. When the Fiend is applying the mandible claw on Alexa, and he has full, control or whatever. Apparently, he's screaming Braun through the mask, or Strowman, or something like that. I didn't hear it, but that's what some people were telling me. I don't know. Did any of you guys share it? I think that part's great
I
because it
didn't hear
adds
that.
more to the story. But I don't know. I think that's pretty cool if that was the
The only
case.
thing I really want to quickly add on is when he did the mandible claw, it did say heel on his hand when he gave Alexa Bliss the mandible claw. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see where
Yeah,
this
and
all goes.
isn't the heel glove when he does it to like someone who's a baby face? Doesn't that mean that like he basically turns them heel? I know it's weird, but the way it was just done, where he brings the glove real slow and he like shows it to her, and she kind of like nods in fear almost, but she's like nodding yes, like help me, or like yeah, do it, or something. I don't know. It was just something super cool. It was something different. I know a lot of people didn't like it because Bray Wyatt, did the mandible claw to a woman, but hey, at least the Fiend is showing that he doesn't discriminate. So yay, kudos to that. Equality.
Yeah, very cool stuff. Yeah, I guess we're just gonna have to see where it goes. But yeah, very similar things have happened in the past with other wrestlers. But we're gonna move on to the next topic, the return of the cosplayer of the week. So this is the segment where you, the community, get featured onto this page here. So this week's cosplayer is Aron Catliffe. Aron started cosplaying in 2015 with his first convention being Supernova in Sydney, Australia. So he's a fellow fan from across the sea.
That's awesome. Yeah. All right.
Aussie.
I'll take the next one here. He got into wrestling playing SmackDown Here Comes the Pain and was drawn to the epicness, and that's actually a really good game out of the SmackDown series.
That's probably the best game out of the SmackDown series.
Yeah.
We'll definitely have to do a video game based episode in the future.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That was the only video. That was the only video game I think that had broad panty matches actually in it.
Yep. Aron's signature cosplays are mostly wrestling related, but he also goes for cosplays that no one think of doing, like Weird Al Yankovic.
Very nice.
Nice. Gotta love Weird Al.
Yeah. He's great.
Yeah.
Amish Paradise, an amazing song.
I'll read the last one, I guess.
Go for it.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
The final thing he would like to mention is that his twin Jake also does cosplays, as you'll see in the montage. Perhaps we'll see him in an upcoming Converse episode.
Very nice.
Twinning. All right, I'm done.
Yep. Now, here's a showcase of Aron Catliffe right here. We are back. That was Aron Catliffe. If you too wish to be a cosplayer of the week, send us a message here on @2SweetCosplay on Facebook. And you can be a potential future cosplayer as well.
Asian sensation, you look like you got something you want to say.
Send us your stuff.
Nice.
Yes.
All right.
So now we will close this episode of Two Sweet Converse with another hot topic from last night's edition of Monday Night Raw. Glad we're getting to talk about this a little earlier, so while it's fresh on our minds, I definitely want to get into this. So Shane McMahon returned to TV last night. We saw some attempts at getting the ratings up. One of them is this new concept on Monday Night Raw. It's somewhat of a fight club, comparing it to the video game Def Jam Vendetta, Def Jam New York, etc. It's very MMA style. There was a similar angle back in the Attitude Era, the Brawl for All. Maybe not quite on par, but in short, it's just an underground fighting scene now being done on Monday Night Raw in a warehouse. So, what are your guys' thoughts on Raw Underground? Is this concept going to last? Is this just setting up for failure? And what did you guys think? Do you think this has any legs? Who would like to take this one? EJV?
Yeah, I'll take this one. Of course, I want to take another topic on the 2 Sweet Shorts, which we'll get into later. But to tell you the truth, at first, when I first saw the concept and everything, I was not really interested because we've already seen something similar to this that had been a success, GCW's Josh Barnett's Bloodsport, which was a success, and and it was a very cool thing because it mixed shoot fighting, MMA, and professional wrestling, and it was a cool thing. It had Josh Barnett, Minoru Suzuki, Timothy Thatcher, Filthy Tom Lawler, a lot of different names. But going back to this, I wasn't sure because I thought it was basically the light version of it. But when I saw the actual footage and I saw everything go down, I thought it looked decent. It has the potential. It really does. It has the potential to be something good if WWE plays their cards right, which of course they haven't over the past few years. And I'm not saying that as a mark of other companies or anything. I'm just saying that from past history. We've all seen it. They could start something fresh and new that seems good or seems decent, that has legs, but then they'll cut those legs out from underneath it and it becomes a parody of itself. We've seen that so many times. But for me, when I first saw it, like I said, I was not interested. But then as I continued on and kind of looked at it, and I saw Shelton Benjamin sprawling with another guy, taking him to school on how to be a wrestler, an amateur wrestler. Back to the Minnesota Gophers when he was rooming with Brock Lesnar, and then seeing Lashley just destroy everybody. I thought it was pretty cool, in the way they kind of almost took over the place. But the issue I have is not with the concept itself. In a sense, it is with MVP and Lashley, the Hurt Business. They had just lost a match before this happened. To me, how can you lose a match, go into there, and then whip everybody else's ass? That makes zero sense, in a way. Because if you think about it, if you were coming off all big and high and mighty after a match, you go in there and you just whip somebody's ass, that would make you tougher. But you just got off a loss. And then you go in there and you decide, okay, I'm going to join this underground fighting league where I'm going to just absolutely destroy everybody, and you make it look easy. Come on, give me a break on that. Come on. That's where consistency is lost in the WWE programming, and that's what we've seen a lot of. I mean, I'm going to give this a chance. I'm going to give it, next week, maybe the week after, to kind of try and hook me in fully. But in all reality, if it does it by next week, in a sense, I'm going to absolutely just tune it out. It has the potential to be something, but its chances are not extremely high.
Very nice. Yeah, I could see it. You going that way? Who would like to take this one next?
I'll take it.
Wild card? All right.
Yeah. I won't be terribly long about this. It's just like E said, I have to wait and see how this plays out. Just because WWE has been known to drop the ball on a lot of stuff, as I've previously ranted on either from this episode or previous episodes. But here was my initial reaction when I first saw this. Steve, I'm sure you got my message about this, but I was laughing my ass off. I was literally like I saw this, I'm just like, what the hell am I just watching? And then I just burst out in laughing because it was just so over the top. It was so cheesy. I mean, I guess if that was the idea that they were going with this, then they accomplished it. Good job there. I mean, this was, I don't know what they're trying to pull. I mean, it did remind me of kind of like a brawl for all kind of thing there. But it was just done way over the top. It was just, to me, it was just like, okay, they could have toned things down a little bit there. I mean, come on, it's like basically like a fight club with strippers on the side there too. So I mean, that's, just especially just those add-ons is just like, okay, really? Did you really need to do this over the top there? I will say some positive things about this though. I thought it was kind of intriguing to see something different, especially with how the programming is right now. I mean, we gotta add something to spice it up a little bit though. It was kind of cool to see like even like guys like one half of the Viking Raiders go in there and just beat the crap out of everybody. And Ziggler also, I believe, got a little match in there too, so that was kind of nice to see. This whole deal with the Hurt Business, I'm very intrigued to see how that's going to play out too. But yeah, that, especially after coming off a loss like that, it just was a little bit confusing, maybe a little puzzling for me. But I guess it's just another way for them to establish themselves as a legitimate faction. So I'm willing to give it a little bit of a shot, but I thought it was just so over the top that they're going to somehow drop the ball with this.
All right, Nico, let's hear your thoughts.
Yeah, kind of like what everybody said. When I first saw it, because I was not watching Raw live, I was on a bit of a delay. I was watching Raw, but I was on a bit of a delay. And I was like, wait, what's going on? They're doing like a Fight Club type of thing. I had heard stuff about it before Raw. I'm sure those of us who are on social media, we read the dirt sheets. We read the rumor reports on Twitter that, hey, WWE might be doing something tonight that is making people scratch their heads big time. When I first saw it, I was like, what in the hell? Mainly because, and I'm not saying that, WWE wrestlers can't fight, like, for real, because they have some guys who can, really, that have somewhat of a, background in, like, amateur wrestling, like, Dolph Ziggler, Shelton Benjamin, which I'll dive deeper into Shelton a little bit more, later on with my spiel here. Eric and Ivar, who are two big-ass Viking mofos, which you don't think those guys can throw down if they really had to? Come on now. But my thing was, oh my god, as soon as I see the go-go dancers or whatever, I'm not even going to call them strippers, because no disrespect to those three women, but none of those three women would I ever ask for a dance or ask, hey, would you like to go to the champagne room with me? No. Like, come on. I can easily, and Ezra knows this, I can easily pick three hotter girls for them to use. Seriously, I was like, what the okay. But anyways, long story short, after watching everything and then breaking it down, I actually like the idea, as long as it leads to something. And what I mean by that is, if you have a guy like Bobby Lashley, who is a legit fighter. Bobby Lashley has done MMA for Bellator. And I think he did a little bit with Strikeforce too, if I'm not mistaken. But if you can give me Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar, finally, which is the match everybody wants to see, even if they don't want to admit it. But if you can give me that in that type of an environment of, hey, just fight boys, that'd be freaking awesome. And I read on social media that there were certain wrestling fans that they're like, oh my god, WWE says that they want to push, younger, newer, and fresher talent, and here they go pushing three old guys. Guess what? Shelton Benjamin is a legit badass wrestler. Bobby Lashley is a legit badass wrestler and fighter. MVP could convince a vegetarian to eat an entire steak dinner with the way the man talks. I guarantee you, those are three guys that you can really have right now to push perfectly. But my thing here, what's the payoff? What is going to be the final payoff? I hope it potentially leads to Lashley versus Brock, as I mentioned earlier, but it's got to be a payoff. And one last thing, if this thing goes another 3 weeks, at least WWE can pull the plug right after. But if it goes 3 more weeks at least, which means that they did this storyline or they did this idea for an entire month, I don't want to hear Vince Russo ever get any more shit for the Brawl for All ever again. Because the Brawl for All was a brilliant idea too back in the day. You just gotta trust me. This can work if you use the right people.
Very nice. You know what, Nico? I was also a fan of the Brawl for All back then. Granted, that was like almost 20 years ago, or maybe it was 20 years ago. But yeah, I did like the Brawl for All back in the day. I know it is pretty well panned nowadays, and I could understand why. I won't get too into it, but anywho, there's some ups and downs to Raw Underground in my personal opinion. I'll start with the ups. First off, I'm glad WWE is actually trying something different. This is different, Raw Underground. I do appreciate them trying to do a new storyline, new perspective, just to try to vary things up so it's not the same formula each week. We'll see how long this lasts. However, I can't remember the name of the guy they had debut in their first segment, but he looked like a legitimate badass. I thought that was pretty cool. We saw somebody there. And yeah, of course, the Viking Raiders. I think it was Ivar that was in it. He was awesome. It was interesting seeing that random fight with Dolph. And it made the Hurt Business look very good. While EJV was right that, yeah, it's kind of ridiculous that, MVP, Shelton Benjamin lost their titles earlier on the show. Or, well, I guess MVP was never officially recognized as U.S. champion, but that's a whole different topic. I kind of understand why they all came in, like actually looking like badasses. They're all pissed off. They lost their titles. Bobby Lashley is a legitimate badass, so of course he was going to beat people up. And oh yeah, there was a Dio Madden sighting in that whole Fight Club Underground thing. I thought that was interesting. I'm a fan of it. But anyways, the things that I didn't like, it did come off massively desperate. It looked like they were really like, hey, look, the Attitude Era is back. Or in these segments, you're going to get a peek back at the Attitude Era back in the 1990s. Shotgun Saturday Night, the Brawl for All. And yeah, it was silly with those, whatever you want to call them, strippers, go-go dancers, whatever you will. I thought that was a little over the top. I did like the whole setting and stuff with the fighting. The warehouse setting did look pretty cool. I think instead of cinematic matches, they should try to just do interesting backgrounds like that. But that's kind of a whole different topic right there. So, in short, yeah, I did like everything. I don't think this concept is going to last, however. I think this is just something that's going to kind of be here for a few weeks and then go on from there. But, yeah, if we could somehow see Brock Lesnar show up in Raw Underground and challenge Bobby Lashley at SummerSlam or another pay-per-view, it'll be all worth it. But for now, I don't think this is going to last all too long, honestly. So that's pretty much it for this week. Let us know what you guys thought of the show. If you have any personal feedback on either storyline, we want to hear it. So yeah, any final thoughts from you guys?
Just want to the usual. Sorry about that, Nico. Just the usual. Thank you guys very much as always for watching our videos. We appreciate the support. We can't do it without you guys, and we appreciate every bit of feedback you give us. Every like that you put on our page, every time you share one of our videos. You guys are the real MVPs of this, and we thank you guys from the bottom of our hearts. Keep supporting us. Keep sharing everything. We love each and every one of you.
Yep.
Real quick, thank you all for helping us get to over 1,000 likes or subscribers on YouTube. Much appreciated. It's a very, very incredible feeling. We appreciate you watching this. So make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, @2SweetCosplay. And that is all for this week. So We're going to tune out and tell you all to keep it too sweet.